Check. Now, think you guys might be able to hear me now. Don't know. I'm hearing an echo here. We'll try it again. I'll have to keep watching this. Make sure you guys can see what's going on. All right. So now, looks like I'm back on. Try this again. And this is why I need somebody to help me with production here, man. Okay, there we go. Good deal. All right, Jonathan, Jessica, what's up? We got people on here now. All right, so let me go ahead and start from the beginning. All right, here we go. I don't know what the heck happened there. I had to shut down the OBS and restream it. Let me know if you can't hear. Um, but I got to start from the beginning, man, because we got to go all the way back to November now. Right after the election, I decided to nix the late night anchorage thing and kind of go in a different direction because I felt the Lord was Patrick Early. What's up, man? Nice to see that name. Haven't seen you in a long time. What's up, dude? We decided to abandon the late night anchorage, kind of go in different directions. Anyway, God was leading us to sell our house in springtime here because we weren't sure of the market. How things were going to look here in Anchorage because the assembly is going crazy. We're going totally on the bonkers for the left side of things, mask mandates, everything. I'm not even going to get into any of that right now. But anyway, I decided to take this a different direction. We were going to sell the house in spring. We decided to go ahead and put it on the market in November and right before Thanksgiving. And because we weren't sure, because the market was really good at this time, so we decided to put it up. The house went under contract within about 3 or 4 days, and so we sold it. We moved on base here. It took us all this time to kind of move everything, get situated. Here we are. We're living on back on a military installation right now. It's kind of weird, but it's actually pretty. It feels pretty safe because gate guards, stuff like that, But excuse me. So anyway, going in a different direction. Rock the World. If you see Rock the World over here in the that would be down over here in the corner. That's that's kind of what we're looking at. Rock the World is a vision that I had for a ministry about 20 years ago. Um, Woke up one night with this vision in my head. It was a vision of the fist of God hitting the the earth, and I wasn't quite sure of what this was going to mean and what it was supposed to be. So what this is tonight, Wednesday night, most of you church folks know that Wednesday night is church night. Well, I want to offer you an alternative to church. Rock the World is your church alternative. My calling is to be a pastor and to preach the word of God, and I'm going to do that to the best I can. And for the last couple of years, I've been trying to get involved in politics and stuff like that. That didn't work out, but what it did was open my eyes to what the heck is going on. And you wouldn't believe some of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. You can see the fruition of that right now. What Rock the World is an opportunity for me to pour into you, to encourage you to get involved in what the process is to make our country run, to make our churches run. If you go to a church and you're not involved in it, most probably your church maybe even be shut down. I have no idea, but I know here in Anchorage, the assembly is fixing to make masks a law. All right, that you have to wear a mask outside, inside, wherever the heck you're at. The churches have been on board with this from day one, and what I'm trying to do here is to point out the inconsistencies that I have seen, at least tonight. I'm going to try to point this out. What I've seen within the church the last year since all this is going on. This has been going on a long time. It hasn't just started just a year ago. Rock the World, I believe, was an idea, a God birthed idea that I got when probably when I was a young kid. Because if you notice, if anybody's from New Orleans, you notice what the skyline is in the background. The reason why I have that skyline in the background is because that's where I got my calling. I was a young kid serving as an altar boy at my parish church as a Catholic. As a young boy, I received the call of God. I didn't receive Rock the World back then, but it took about 20 years or so, 25 years to actually get that. And then another 20 until it's actually coming together. This is part of it. This is what part of it is. The message I have is not an easy one to swallow, especially if you're a Christian. Because like it or not, you're fixing to go through a hard time. All right, we're all fixing to go through a hard time. It may not be affecting us just yet, but the division that I see, not only amongst the people of the United States, but in the church, and that really grieves me. All right, because for the last year or so, I've been trying to sound the alarm that this is coming down the pipeline, man. And I'm not trying to be some Isaiah, Ezekiel prophet guy. I just know it. Jesus told us to look at the signs around you, and you can see what's going on. And that's exactly what I did, and I sounded the alarm. And I can tell you from doing that as a minister, I'm not going to get into it tonight, but as we go forth at Rock the World, because this is part of the testimony. I have not been accepted. I have been chastised. I have been fired from my job. I've had my credentials threatened, and this is where we're at today. All right. And it concerns me for the church. It really does, because the church is not as powerful as it should be. We should have a voice standing up in what's going on today, but we don't. We don't have a voice at all. Our voice has been stifled. We've been rendered impotent. Rendered impotent, all right? If you guys know anything about prophetic voices, the prophets, you know, there's Isaiah, there's Ezekiel, there's Daniel, there's John, there's Malachi, there's Jeremiah. I mean, there's a bunch of them. All the prophetic books in the Bible. Most all of them were killed because they were given a message that the people didn't want to hear, because it didn't tickle their ear. There was a certain prophet. His name was Elijah. All right, one of the most powerful prophets that was in the Bible. And he was one of the prophets at the time when Ahab was king of Israel. All right. And really wasn't Ahab that was in control. It was his wife that was in control, and her name was Jezebel. I'm sure that you guys know that name is not a very... I don't know anybody named Jezebel. It's kind of like naming your kid Adolf Hitler. You know, you something you don't do. You don't name your kid Jezebel. You don't name your kid Lucifer, right? Some names you stay away from. Jezebel is one of them. All right. Jezebel, no question arose in ancient Near Eastern theology of whether such a God was a true God. There were discussions about gods being stronger than others. The strength of gods was a political matter in one country, empowered by its gods, sought to impose its will on another country despite its patron deity. So that's kind of what was going on in that whole Middle Eastern area back then with Israel. All right. And Israel turned from God and they embraced all of these other gods. And Jezebel and Ahab were embracing the gods of Baal. All right. The god Baal and the Asherah poles. You can look it up in the Bible and read all this stuff. And they sought to, the government sought to impose their religion on the people. All right. And Jezebel and Ahab did the same thing with Israel. So they did that. But Elijah stood up and came against them. Elijah actually summoned all of their prophets, right? The prophets of Baal, and got them together to get Baal to do a miracle, and Baal couldn't because Baal doesn't exist, but God did, and God killed all the prophets. So Elijah was a very great prophet. The prophets in ancient world. Well, let's see. We must therefore seek a motive for the slaughter of Yahweh's prophets in the politics rather than theology. So that's what Jezebel did. She sought to kill the prophets of God, all right, because of politics. So she took the politics and intertwined the religion and started killing off the prophets. Well, what did the prophets do? The prophets went and hid in caves. Elijah himself wound up getting, after that glorious miracle he did, he wound up going hiding in a cage. Okay. They served as a mouthpiece for gods. All right. So they wanted to Jezebel and Ahab wanted to basically a fortune teller. All right. Oh, whatever you're going to do is going to be great. It's good. Anything that's going to tickle the ear. But Elijah comes along and Elijah says, you're not doing what God told you to do. It's not going to work out for you. In fact, he actually prophesied that she would die and her body would be eaten by dogs. Okay. So anyway, the prophetic word in the Bible is strong. Okay. And the prophetic still works today. There are modern day prophets that are out there and they're prophesying things. Some of them don't speak for God. Okay, they don't speak for God. We've had prophecies of Donald Trump getting reelected and being sworn in for a second term and all this other stuff. And I think that I have to rely on for me, I have to rely on the prophetic word because God spoke to me about this rock the world. All right. And 20 years down the line, it's starting to come together. Okay. Sometimes what God speaks doesn't happen right away in our time. It happens in the time and with God's timing, because God is the one that determines what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. So we've got right now in our leadership a Jezebel and an Ahab. All right. Because Jezebel held all the power. Ahab was a weak, ballless man that had no nuts. All right. He had no nuts. Today we have a president with no nuts, and he can't think for himself, and we have a Jezebel that's fixing to take his place whenever he kicks the bucket, or whenever they remove him, or whatever it is. So, and when we think of that in the Bible, when a woman is placed in authority and leadership, it's a sign of judgment. All right. I believe judgment is in the pipeline for this country. We've dropped the ball. The church has dropped the ball, especially in the last year. And this is not an easy subject to talk about. All right. But as Christians, we have a duty to stand up for what God stands for and raise his banner. But we haven't done that, especially since I'd say 1973. You can go all the way back to when prayer was taken out of schools, and then probably even before that. All right. So we've dropped the ball. We've been complacent. We've been sleeping. All right. And then you have a remnant, some prophets that are trying to stand up, and we're getting chastised. Dude, I was saved out of the Brownsville revival in 1997. All right. Both my wife and I. And there were men of God in that place that I look up to, right? And I would be mentored by them. All right, and I gotta get this ready to play here. Let me put it up. I was appalled by one of them, in that some of the things that he was saying about people. Now, I'm not gonna. I don't want to talk bad about him, because what I'm doing is equating this to what happened when Jezebel and Ahab were in power in Israel. These guys were scared, man. All right, and you have to give them that. Even though they were powerful men of God, this woman and this man, or no, I wouldn't say the man, but the woman had so much physical power where she could easily stop you from what you do. Either you got killed, or you got killed. That was the deal. And then if not, you go hide. All right. So this is what's going on right now, I think. And we have to be aware of this, that we cannot sit here and bash one another about what's going on. We have to realize what we're fighting up against. And I hesitate using that word, because fight may get me banned from Facebook. I have no idea. But it's not fighting in the physical sense. It's fighting in a spiritual sense. And sometimes that manifests into the physical side. This is a video I'm going to show. It's about a minute long, and I want to show you. It was from Dr. Michael Brown. He had a phone call with somebody about taking up arms. All right, whether or not we should take up arms as Christians to save ourselves, to fight against, this onslaught of what's coming. Do we see it? We see the First Amendment rights being taken away. We see Second Amendment rights are going to start. People are being banned from platforms. I'm probably considered a Nazi right now because I have a skinhead. So I mean, this is what's coming down the pipeline. And anyway, somebody asked a question on his radio show, and I'm gonna go ahead and play it and check it out.
Sharon, if we know that the left is turning the USA into socialism, I know God does not like cowards. Does he expect us to fight or just be taken over? Prayers without works are dead. Of course he expects us to fight, but not the way the world fights. I've been fighting this for years. Others fighting it long before I did. Speaking out, standing strong. Prayer is an aggressive spiritual weapon, so we pray. Then we don't back down from our own convictions. We speak out against other agenda. We stand against it. We challenge it in courts. We challenge it in the voting and things like that. Yeah, it's just our first reaction is not, we're taking up arms. That's not our first reaction. If the day comes when we have to defend ourselves against an aggressive military takeover that's trying to, take our grandparents and put them in concentration camps, and you got a militia and, that's fighting against the government that's trying to sterilize your children, but we're not there. We're not there. We're not there. We're not there.
We're not there. At what point do we realize that it's gone down the freaking toilet, right? I want to, let's see here. You can pull some of this stuff up. do some history. All right, do a little history for you. We always refer back to the Nazis, the Adolf Hitler Nazis and stuff. And do you realize it took him like almost 20 years for him to do what he did? All right, for him to get embedded into politics and to get people to be on his side. This concerns me. All right, that yes, we need to pray, we need to do all of that stuff, but when the evil manifests itself in the physical, what do you do then? Jesus said, turn the other cheek. Pray for your enemies. Do all this other stuff. And I'm going to get to that in a little bit. But this right here is, if you guys heard the Nazi Party, the Night of Long Knives, it was basically it was a purge of the SA leadership and other political opponents from June 30, 1934 to July 2nd in 1934, carried out primarily by the SS, which is the police basically force that Hitler put into office, and the Gestapo, and over 150 people were murdered and hundreds more were arrested. Now, what this is that he sided with these people, the SA, to get votes, all right, to get the people on his side. So in other words, they like to call them useful idiots, all right, that his reasoning for killing him and arresting him was that they were going to try to usurp his authority and do their thing, all right. And so he did away with him. This was in 34, all right. And then from that point, he started to replace, people, and he started taking even more power. All right. So, excuse me. The purge focused on the SA. The Nazis also used the event to eliminate other political opponents, such as the former chancellor of Germany. So, can you say impeachment? This is what we're witnessing right now, the Night of the Long Knives. This is what we're going through right now. We're going through the Night of the Long Knives. People are getting we're getting to that point. Where Dr. Brown said, we're not there, we're not there. I beg to differ, Dr. Brown. We're there, and we've been there since March. All right, when these COVID mandates and pandemic crap came into existence. So we had in March, the church got stifled. All right, we shut down. We shut down the church. Couldn't meet. We went online. Now you see they have control of this, so they can shut me off anytime they want. All right, but I got 4 people are watching right now. Hopefully, maybe we can get more people to watch, and we can get more people to understand that. Look, man, we got to do something. All right, we got to do something. We got to be more vocal. We got to get out there. We got to go to our assembly meetings. We have to do what they call civil disobedience. I'm not wearing this. We're going to meet as a church. All right, and we're going to do it. And if I get arrested, I get arrested. All right. Jesus went through much more for this. So we have to understand that there's a reason why God is called the Lord of Heaven's armies. He's not called the Lord of Heaven's daisy fields. All right. Army. An army is an army. You see, we're trying to redefine what military is here in America. Dude, I follow the Navy webpage, and every day they have it out there about people volunteering to get this vaccine coming up. It's not mandated with the military, but they're sure making you feel guilty about it if you don't get it done. It's called propaganda, all right? And everything is about humanitarian aid, all right? We're going to help with the vaccines. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. But what the heck? What happens if China comes and tries to, or anybody tries to come and take over? our military's emaciated. It's not, it's not ready. We've moved from the last 4 years. We've tried to build it back up, and I think that Trump did a good job of doing it. But now we're going to see it just get emasculated, not emaciated, emasculated. It's going to happen. I mean, we see it happen. There's not even a week this guy's been in, and we see this stuff. I wasn't going to go politics, but I'm sorry. This kind of how it leads in here, because as a church, we need to stand up for the Lord. So anyway, I believe that's where we're at. The Night of Long Knives. All right. And then here, and let me see where I got that from, so you guys could do that. That was from web page called the Holocaust Explained .org. So you can check that out yourself, the holocaustexplained.org. And it tells you all about, it's not going to give you no bull crap and some, fluffed over stuff about how Hitler was actually a right wing, conspiracy. White supremacist. He was far from it. He was evil. He was the freaking devil incarnate. All right. So, and on top of that, so was Joseph Stalin, and so was Mao. All right, and Che Guevara, and all these other people that we don't talk about, and we held, we always point back to Nazi Germany as the bad. Ooh, they're the most evil. No, they're not. Stalin killed 30 million. Mao killed upwards of 60 million. And communism is still running rampant. And in fact, it's being infiltrated in our country as I speak. So nobody wants to address that. But I'm going to go ahead and use this because this is the historical part of it. All right. In 33, and this comes from, facinghistory.org. In 1933, almost 40% of Germany's population was Roman Catholic. As a minority country with a Protestant majority, Catholics always felt vulnerable to accusations, and they were not true Germans because of the suspicions they took on orders from Rome. Now, Hitler's ally was Mussolini, Italy, Rome, the head of the Catholic Church. All right, not Mussolini. That's where Rome. Okay. Let's see. Over the years, they had protected their rights by organizing, supporting the Catholic Center Party. All right. Now, as the Nazis were outlawing opposing political parties,